They like download some RAM. Where'd you get those spicy fucking beats, boy? I make them myself, actually. I make most of the music that you've heard on this channel for quite a while has been your boy, just kind of using all the stuff that I've made over the last year and a half, 2 years, I would say, of producing, more specifically in the last couple of years, hip-hop music. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how I started producing music and what I use now, if you're interested, how you guys can get into it, things like that. And at the end, I'll plug my SoundCloud and make this seem like this wasn't just a shameless plug video. So let's get to it. So I've been making music, for, God, what is it, like 6 years at this point? 6-ish, 7? Quite a long time. Early on in my high school careers, when I started just fucking around on GarageBand on my Mac and putting some loops together and seeing what I could come up with. I started out in GarageBand, like I just said. I had an old, it was like a 2010. Well, I guess at the time it would have been new then. I started out with an old MacBook Pro and fucked around in GarageBand because I liked electronic music. I still do like electronic music, a lot less than I did back in my high school days. But I just started putting some loops together and making music, and I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Are you kidding me? Having something that you made all by yourself with just your computer and your imagination is pretty crazy. It's really fun and it's super fulfilling, and I was just drawn to it initially. This was back when I lived in Philly, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do with anything that I made because I didn't know really about SoundCloud very much. I didn't know about how to share my music with anything, so I just come in with, whatever I had done and show people that I went to school with. I'd be like, hey, look at this, and they'd be like, damn, that's horrendously bad. But making music, especially producing music like I do, almost purely digitally, takes a lot of time. I mean, if you don't suck when you first start out, then you are one of the only people that I've ever known to not suck at using these programs, because they're not super intuitive and you really got to learn a lot about how they work and what makes them tick and things like that. But again, once you get into it, I found it so fun that it didn't really matter. I was just throwing loops together and they didn't even have to sound good. I would just love it. I would love the process of making it. So jump cut to nowadays, and I am currently using Ableton Suite 9. I'm using Ableton because I used Ableton Suite 8, and I, for some reason, really am drawn to Ableton. I know a lot of people, for the genre that I produce a lot of like hip-hop, trap, sometimes old school hip-hop, which I really enjoy. I love old school hip-hop so much. I'm using Ableton Suite 9 because I really like the layout. I do like a lot of the stock things that they have going on in Ableton Suite 9. I mean, it's the same stock stuff that I really enjoyed from Ableton Suite 8. Most notably being the fact that, this is such a small thing, but their stock grand piano sound can be, even with minimal alterations, can sound so good. So good. That being said, there are certain things that I don't really like about Ableton. Certain things I found just take way longer than they need to, or they take much less time in other DAWs, digital audio workstation? Oh fuck, I forget the W. My one gripe specifically would be turning an 808 into a like drawn out bass sound, or an 808 kick drum into a drawn out bass sound. Normally, I know for a fact in FL Studio, what you can do is find where you want the 808 bass to loop, and then use the snap to zero crossing, and it'll automatically snap to the zero crossings, if you would believe that setting is what it says, and will produce a smooth sounding loop in that bass. Ableton doesn't have that. Sure, you can go ahead and zoom in and set your loop to a couple zero crossings where you see them, but it takes more time. It takes a lot more time to do those things in Ableton than it would in, say, FL Studio or Logic or Pro Tools. But that being said, I'm stubborn, and I don't want to pay more money. I do not want to pay more money for a new DAW. No. So the more I'm sitting here talking, the more I'm realizing this video is so directionless. So I'm going to try and get this thing on some rails here. If you are interested in making music, I would start out, if you have a Mac, GarageBand. Oh my goodness. GarageBand is fantastic as a beginner tool to learn how to make music. I mean, some of the stock sound, or a lot of the stock sounds and pretty much all the stock loops sound really, really good. And you can tell that Apple puts a ton of time, not only into the GarageBand's bigger brother Logic, but into GarageBand itself. I mean, it's incredibly easy, and it does let you delve a little bit deeper than other basic free music production programs would. So I would say, if you have the means, to definitely go for GarageBand. If you don't have access to a Mac or MacBook, if you have an Intel processor in your computer/laptop and the rest of your parts are compatible, I know you can check that online. I guess this is the computer nerd solution. All of Apple's operating systems, you can download the latest, I think High Sierra, OS X High Sierra, the operating system, and throw that on your computer, do a little dual boot action, and get GarageBand that way on your PC or on your Windows machine. That's just one solution coming from a big fucking computer nerd as well. So if you have the means to do that, I would absolutely recommend it. That is, if you have compatible parts, that is the free way to do it, to get at least entry-level access. Also, maybe you've been making music for a hot minute and you're looking for maybe a community of people who kind of do the same thing. Personally, I absolutely love the subreddit r/making-hip-hop. Granted, it's more tailored towards, hear me out on this one, making hip-hop, but you can ask some pretty general questions and you'll normally get really good answers out of that place. They have weekly competitions for anything you can imagine. I keep hitting this goddamn microphone. They have weekly competitions for pretty much everything you can imagine. Whether you're a rapper or a producer, really, they'll definitely have something for you. And so I would recommend checking them out regardless, because they are pretty cool. They're pretty cool, and I like that community a lot. So I've been rambling for, way too long. I am going to go ahead and wrap this video up. But before I do that, I do want to say, if you are interested in any of the beats that you've heard on this channel or anything, I do post most if not all of them on my SoundCloud. You can check it out at soundcloud.com/downloadsomeram. I know, brand consistency, am I right? But yeah, go ahead and give that a follow if you want to keep up with more music that I've been making, because I think I'm at a point now where I'm not the worst, which is a hard thing to say, because I definitely am one of those people that once I'm finished with a beat or a song, I'll absolutely hate every single second of it by the time I'm done with it. So when I release it and everybody's like, oh, it's good, I'm like, please don't lie to me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm just spouting off right now about something else that I'm passionate about, which is making music, and giving you guys a little bit of, I guess, insight as to what I do, what I use, what you can use to get started, things like that, where you can find my music. This is completely unrelated, but I definitely forgot to mention it in yesterday's video. I also stream quite a bit on Twitch, so if you're looking for some of that download some RAM live hotness, you can check me out there. Twitch.tv/wait for it, download some RAM. And I do also have a donation button over there. Don't use it. I don't need it. I'm fine. I'm okay. You don't need to, but I felt pressured into doing it because like everybody else has one, and I'm good friends with a couple other streamers who are taking it way more seriously than me and getting in a pretty professional position, and they all have like, you know, sub buttons and subscription and donation links and everything, and I'm like, I guess I'll put a donation link too. So I mean, if you really want to help out, sure, but I do not feel obligated or pressured in any way. So that is about all I got for this one. I will catch you guys tomorrow. I'll catch you later.